Welcome to season 1 of the Resilient Dad Show. When I became a single dad and had to navigate social parenting issues and the complexity of the family legal system, I felt confused and alone with nowhere to turn. And that's why I've created the Resilient Dad Show, a place that I so badly needed and wish had been available during the grueling and challenging times of working through my own experience. This show will feature industry experts in mental health, social services, and personal development, along with resilient dad role models whose stories of overcoming the challenges of co-parenting will create a new vision for the life you and your kids deserve. If you have any questions or want to suggest a future guest on the show, please visit resilientdad.fm for more information. Welcome back, guys. Pat from Resilient Dad. And in today's episode, I want to share a bit about in terms of an experience that I had with my son and the importance of showing resilience and giving your kids the opportunity to be resilient. So my son and I went and spent the day on the weekend at Bounce, which is an indoor trampoline kind of center where there's all these obstacles and kids having all this in terms of fun with one another. And there was this section of the center that had a beam, so they called it the battle beam, and either side there was a trampolines with pretty much like a foam pit, so that when kids fell or whatever, they didn't hurt themselves. Now my son had jumped on this battle beam with this other kid who was much older, but nice kid. He was being really sort of playful with my son and so forth. And they had these foam kind of I guess like sticks, you may call it, that they'd try and knock each other off along the battle beam. Now, I noticed that in terms of my son, his reaction generally when he's trying to either communicate what he wants, if he's not necessarily getting his way, is in terms of to essentially cry. And I've been really sort of adamant with him in terms of trying to talk him through the process and making him understand that in terms of crying is not necessarily the best way to communicate what exactly you're after, or what you need. So my son's on this battle beam with his kid and he's constantly getting knocked off. And, I knew that the other kid was, a lot stronger and so forth, but I thought, it was really cool that, my son kept on going at it. But as he was constantly getting knocked off, his focus was on getting frustrated, angry, in terms of complaining that it's not fair and so forth. And I pulled him aside and as there was more kids that they came and joined in on that battle beam, and pulled him out of the pit as one of the times that he'd fallen off. And I said to him, Christopher, understand that in terms of you're not always going to win, but you always have the opportunity to learn and see in terms of what is it that in terms of you actually, what happened? Is there something that the other kid's doing that you're not doing? Where my son was always trying to focus on hitting him high, towards the head. And this other kid was just really just knocking him lightly on his legs, and that lost his balance and he fell off. So I said to him, let's focus on, instead of trying to hit him in the head, how about you try to hit him in the legs and see if that makes a difference? And I said, let's jump in the back of the line, wait your turn and go again. So my son jumps in the back of the line and I'm talking him through and, telling him to observe the other kids and see what they're doing. And this kid was doing really well and he stayed on, and Christopher goes back up, goes again, and bang, he gets knocked off again. And he comes back frustrated, angry again. And I just said to him, we're always learning. And he actually he goes, I'm losing. And I said to him, but you don't lose, you learn. And until you give up, you're never losing. And I thought, wow, being able to even just say that vocally to my son really sort of reminded me of that I never actually lose until I actually give up. And the only reason why I do give up is fear, the fear of failure and the fear of rejection. But do I really fail if I learn? No. Can I really be rejected? No, not really. Because if, in terms of, the only person that can reject myself is me. And from trying to teach my son a lesson, I was like reminding myself of a very important lesson, that keep going, like stay on that in terms of battle beam, and learn, and in terms of, see what you're doing and where you maybe could be improving on the things that, in areas that you don't actually see because you're not focusing on that, and stop focusing on in terms of what the other person has, whether they're, in terms of stronger, or they have other in terms of, um, you know, other resources, or whether it's money or wherever it may be. Just focus on improving yourself and competing against yourself. And eventually, just like that other person who started somewhere like I am, in terms of I'll get to where I want to go. I just have to keep going and not give up. So I thought that was a very interesting and important lesson that I was, that I had with my son on the weekend. And I hope that, you guys also can see the lesson in that and pass that on to your kids, because the need of being a role model to our kids is the biggest responsibility. And as I think it was, I heard it from the Superman movie, with great power comes great responsibility. And that's something that I don't take lightly. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon.